You're listening to the TF Motorsports official podcast, all things monster trucks. Welcome to a new episode of the TF Motorsports official podcast. I'm Thomas Fresco, as we have officially reached May, and there's going to be some things that I have to talk about, including, as of right now, the schedule for the podcast. So obviously today we're here on Monday, but next week, I just took a look at the Monster Jam schedule for next week. We're not going to have enough to make a episode of the podcast next week. So unless if there's any major news as of right now, we're not going to have an episode next week. But then the week after, Monster Jam actually has a World Finals thing happening the same time that I would record the podcast, which is Mondays at 8. So we're going to be doing the episode on Sunday, May 18th. So it's going to be slightly different this time. So May 18th on a Sunday night is when I'm going to be recording it, and it will be uploaded by then. And, of course, that will be talking about the points championships for both tours. So, yeah. And then after that, again, I'll talk about this again next episode, where the podcast will pretty much be on like a part-time basis, where we'll be stuck just kind of either doing interviews if we could try to get some interviews. If not, then we're kind of just stuck in limbo until the World Finals actually happens. And we'll talk more about that on the next episode of the podcast. So yeah, so let's get started with East Rutherford, and this is actually a little bit different. So, because I actually went for this edition of the East Stadium Series, so this time I'll get to talk a little bit more in depth with the event instead of just talking based off of just the stream. So I went ahead and got to the stadium. And honestly, I was expecting like some sort of like cloudy sky, or like maybe a drizzle, or maybe even some rain right at the pit party. But it was actually like hot. It was like scorching hot, just like last year's pit party. And unlike last year's pit party, where I ended up just, like almost passing out from like being dehydrated from the heat and everything last year, and then thankfully one of my buddies got me a water. That's why in the picture with me, Kay Young, and Casey, I looked out of it, because, yeah, that's just me recuperating from that. But thankfully this year, after I talked with Mark and his buddy, Mark Crush, I went ahead and purchased the water. So on the line to Cannon Murphy and Classroom Crusher, I was already drinking water, so I've learned my mistake. Do not wait on drinking water when you're at a pit party at MetLife Stadium. You're gonna regret it if you don't drink freaking water. So, and I was already starting to feel kind of woozy, so I'm like, all right, yeah, I should get some water. So I did, and I wasn't feeling out of it. I felt, obviously I took care of myself. Met Cannon Murphy, again, pretty cool. Again, I wasn't really on my to-do list, but still it was a very, very cool meet. I went to Jim Kohler, but before I even met Jim Kohler, I met Jabari Thomas. He actually was there, and I got to say hi to him. And, yeah, he's a chill dude. Again, he's very talented at his crowd work. He's got energy. He's in the spirit. Jabari's a cool dude, and I got a photo with him as well. Then got to talk with Jim Kohler. We talked about Bridgeport, and the last time I saw him at a pit party, because in the last few times he went to MetLife, I didn't get on the line, but this time I did. And then going up to the next one, went to my one on the bucket list, which was Colt Stevens Thunder Roars. He's also a very chill dude too. His crew chief was there as well. Then went ahead, and last person I met was Freestyle Foley, Joe Foley and Axe. So yeah, it was just very, very, very great feeling. Great people, great spirit. Yeah, again, the pit party also had some BMX bikes and some skateboards, which was something different. It wasn't freestyle motocross, that's cool. At least they're trying some new stuff. And then we got to the show. Got into the seats. Luckily, just in case if it rained, I got seats where I was right in where like you were protected. It wasn't outdoors. It was like the indoor section of the stadium, so I was protected regardless. So going into racing, the drivers really were hammering, and again, you could really see more of the power now that you're actually in the stadium and watching from there. Because when you're watching it through stream, I guess maybe that's just because of the camera quality or whatnot, but like it doesn't really do them justice. But yeah, in the racing competition, it was all Tyler Menega and Gravedigger. Barry Musauer lost in he lost in round 2, so that left the door wide open for Tyler. Excuse me. Sorry, I got a little bit of bad allergies today. We went on to skills, and after Cannon Murphy crashed, Casey was interviewing, I think Colstein was crew chief, and then all of a sudden I hear that that dreaded MetLife warning thing, and then I got 2021 flashbacks. So had to wait and wait, just like, I mean, similar to 2021, except it wasn't excruciatingly long, and it sounded kind of something like this.
Your attention, please. For your safety, we are going to have everyone leave the outdoor seating mode area and take shelter inside the stadium because of severe weather in the area. Please do not congregate near the exits as others are leaving the outdoor seating mode area. You should use the space on the ramps at the ends of the stadium as well. Those on the field, please walk on into the nearest tunnel and take shelter in your elevators. Event staff are available to guide and assist you.
And you're welcome. I've made that part of the soundboard. I'm slowly making a soundboard for the podcast because I just want to have a little bit of fun with it. That's gonna be one of the sounds because it's just a meme in New Jersey. Yeah, with my stadium, I've heard this twice, which is pretty interesting. But there was actually a different outcome this time. Instead of 2021, where they had to postpone it and then we had to go, the storm did not even happen. Like, it just passed by. Some people said they got like tornado warnings, and all of a sudden I'm getting like 4 different freaking results on like different websites with weather. I'm like, geez, what the hell is happening? Like, at first I thought, okay, we're done, and then like the next thought, I'm like, all right, wait a minute, no, we're not. But then like maybe, but then no, and then like I'm like, Jesus Christ. So then I got up and went to the bathroom, and then I just came out and just walked around just to piss out time, just wait, and then a different sound played. I didn't record this sound, but it actually said, like, situation resolved, and God, I love the East Rutherford fans, because as soon as that sound played, they just erupted in cheers. Like, again, for Monster Jam, East Rutherford's, like, one of the best crowds all year. Because they just, it's just, they're having fun, and, like, the noise they make is just wonderful. I bet the Florida fans are also relatively on that same scale. Again, I just wish I went to Tampa or Orlando again. That'd be fun. So, after like 15 minutes after that announcement, we got back into it, and Dalton Weiner continued on the skills competition, and then winning skills would be Armando Castro and El Toro Loco. Then going into freestyle, Believe it or not, they didn't have like the mini stuff and whatnot. And it's good that they didn't have a long intermission because, again, we had to wait for a weather delay. So they had to kind of readjust and kind of push freestyle on a little bit longer. Or, sorry, quicker. So freestyle, there were some good moments. Colt Stevens, very good run, little save. Cynthia Gauthier, props to her. She got third place in that. Chris Kohler, he threw down. Barn Musauer did pretty well, just placing over Tyler Menega, who tried to like gap one of the jumps, but just came up short and just totaled his truck. And then Jim Kohler kept getting shut off. Then he did like pissed off donuts. And then his truck was just really broke, so he said, all right, he's just going to hit the apex, and it just stopped on him. If it's broke, you drill it, and that's what he did. And then Chris Kohler, holy crap, he got some pretty good air, and then he got the backflip and completely shifted that rear end. Like the shocks broke and the whole thing shifted, and he was going to take off. He actually took off a little bit, and then they shut him off. Like, they were pretty slow on that. I'm surprised. But finally, Joe Foley, Freestyle Foley, got the freestyle victory. Got the best save of the night. Great moments, and a cool backflip crash. So, well-deserved for Joe Foley, finally getting that win. Overall event champion, Tyler Menega in Gravedigger, helping him out in points. And going into their last round in Pittsburgh in about a couple weeks, this tour is just insane. So, Cannon Murphy, I think he might be mathematically out of this championship. He's 59 points behind Tyler. So, yeah, I think he might be out of it. But then when you get to Tyler and Bari, they're 1 point away from each other. Like, it's that close. So, I'm stoked. I'm excited. And I cannot wait for the Pittsburgh live stream because that is going to be a must-see for Monster Jam fans. Meanwhile, Mono Castro, he's 4th. Dalton Weiner, 5th. Colt Stevens, 6th. Cynthia Gauthier, 7th. Jim Kohler, 8th. Chris Kohler, 9th. Mike Christensen, 10th. Joe Foley, even after winning that freestyle win, still was not enough to really bump him from 11th. He's still 11th, and Kevin Crocker last. Oh, also Kevin Crocker drilled the truck on a backflip. He hit the front tires, and then it like had a pretty good rotation, though he didn't gas into it. Like, if he were to gas into the backflip, he would have gotten a double, but he was 1.5, and he landed right on his side. Like, that was a pretty cool moment. And my voice was hurting a little bit the next day, but not as bad as the other times. But I was still yelling pretty good. All right, and going into our next tour, this being the E-Series, they had a couple stops, and it was Blake Ranger all the way for a lot of it. Blake Ranger in the first show would actually lose to Zach Garner in Wildside. The Hall brothers weren't there. Instead, Jamie Garner, Zach Garner filling in. Or sorry, Mark Hall and Kirk Kramer. Yeah, they weren't there, so it was Jamie and Zach Garner filling in for that weekend. But yeah, so Zach Garner would win racing, but Blake Ranger would go and win skills and freestyle and skills and overall, but freestyle would go to Kristen Anderson. And sorry if I'm out of it. Saturday afternoon, Zach Garner would get it again in racing. MJ Solario would get skills, and then freestyle and overall, Blake Ranger and Monstermont Dalmatian. Saturday evening would feature Blake Ranger get the racing victory. Skills, freestyle, and overall would be MJ Solario. Meanwhile, the other overall for Sunday afternoon would once again be Blake Ranger, Monstermont Dalmatian. Although he would not even be in the final round, as Zach Garner would beat Tony Oaks in that race, he would make up for it by winning skills, freestyle, and overall. So Blake Ranger, going on the dominating part for 2 of the 3 competitions, earned him the overall event championship. And Blake Ranger's walking away with this one by a long shot. Wouldn't be surprised if we get an announcement pretty soon. He's leading by 150 points over MJ Solario in El Toro Loco, as MJ Solario bumped up over Tony Oaks for second. And then you got Kristen Anderson fourth, Brandon Telechka fifth, Michaela Telechka sixth, Mark Hall seventh, Kurt Kramer is last. And although Zach Garner and Jamie Garner are listed ninth and 10th, obviously they're not going to have a shot. And even then, it was just a one-time event, because they'll be back in competition. I don't know, maybe like next week or the week after, but yeah, their points technically don't matter because you still have the 8-truck field. Excuse me for a sec. Sorry, I had to clear my throat again. The allergies are so freaking bad. It's just the pollen and shit. It's killing me. Arena Series Central's done. They went to Lander Center. Again, sorry if I keep saying I don't usually say a lot. Jesus Christ. I just noticed I keep saying and I'm like, fuck. I'm trying not to do that. Shit, no. Don't do that again. All right. Friday evening would feature... Wow, I'm way off today. Montana Robbins. I almost said Michaela Telechka. Jesus Christ. Montana Robbins and Playing Crazy got the racing victory. Skills would go to John Zimmer Jr. in Terminal Velocity. And then Freestyle would go to Jamie Sullivan in Sparkle Smash, but overall would go to John Zimmer Jr. in Terminal Velocity. Saturday afternoon would feature Triton Robbins and Crazy Train getting the racing victory. Then you have John Zimmer Jr. getting the skills win. Freestyle would go to Jamie Sullivan and Sparkle Smash. And overall, Crazy Train with Triton Robbins. But Saturday evening is when it really became a celebration. This is where the point series ended with this one event, I believe. Either that one or Saturday afternoon. So going into it, again, it would be another racing victory for the Robbins, as the Robbins would win racing throughout the entire weekend. Triton Robbins would get another racing victory in Crazy Train. He would also get skills, and Freestyle would go to Matt Cody and Gravedigger, but overall event championship would be Triton Robbins and Crazy Train. And let's go over Sunday first, and then I'll get to the announcement. Sunday afternoon, Triton Robbins would get another racing victory. So the Robbins got all 4, and Triton got 3. Montana got 1 racing win. Skills would go to Fernando Martinez and El Toro Loco. Freestyle would be Sparkle Smash with Jamie Sullivan. Overall, Triton Robbins and Crazy Train, man, he's getting good. But if you take a look at points, or even if you don't pay attention to points, if you take a look at the day of, like shortly after MetLife, and you see the Discord servers and all that, it's just a sheer amount of celebration. Like, everyone is just bringing out their party hats, they're bringing out the confetti, because John Zimmer Jr. has won the points championship in Terminal Velocity, as he finishes off with 1,076 points over Matt Cody. And then Matt Cody lost by 82 points. And so did Jamie Sullivan, as Jamie Sullivan got a top 3, which is very, very good. So respectable finish. And then you got Fernando Martinez 4th with 943 points. Triton Robbins top 5. How about it? 766 points. John Zimmer Zombie, 669 points. Nice. Montana Robbins Playing Crazy, 596 points. And Angelina Knock wraps it up last, but still had some great moments throughout the season, 523 points. I think they might have a few shows left, but their points are done. John Zimmer Jr. is going to the World Finals main field, finally. And also, fun fact, this is the first time an independent team has won a Monster Jam Points Championship. So that is just a really huge accomplishment. And again, congratulations to the Zimmers and John Zimmer Jr. And we are super stoked to see him in the main field for the Monster Jam World Finals, and he is definitely going to be a large fan favorite going in. And that was the events that happened. Again, we're kind of slow with news and with results. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at fan questions. There's actually 2 fan questions. So let me just pull it up here. Okay, so we have Mike Trapper putting chicken jockey monster truck, good idea or nah? Nah, I don't think so. Because usually like they would like have new trucks for like the new year and the meme would be dead. Or even if you did it like in mid-season, it'd be dead the next half. Yeah, I don't think that'd be a good idea, honestly. I think that'd be pretty meh to have that there. We'll just keep that in the Minecraft movie. And then Monster Jam RC put, what are your predictions for the Monster Jam event as a whole? I'm actually going to wait on this. I did have predictions at one point, but they're probably going to change, especially with the main field going to be announced on the 19th. I'm going to reserve this until our World Finals podcast episode where we predict. So be sure to check out that one. I think that one's going to be June 30th, I believe. And next time we have the podcast, which will be May 18th, there's going to be a special announcement about that podcast episode. So keep your eyes peeled on that one. Or ears, rather. So, that is really all that we really had to talk about in terms of results. And there really isn't much news as far as I could see. We talked about Monster Jam and MetLife Stadium and my experience. Okay. Alright, so before we get into Monster Jam predictions, I just want to say that Motorsports Hour new episode has been recorded where I went to Accord Speedway for the Pure Stocks. Episode will be out either this week or next week. Again, it depends on when I get to it. I'm probably going to be very, very lazy or tired or whatnot or just demotivated. But this is going to be some really, really good stuff. I'm really excited to get this out for you. Unfortunately, the Durham, Connecticut event got canceled for unknown reasons, but I will make up for that by going to Accord around the 16th. So very excited for Motorsports Hour. Again, keep your eyes peeled for the series. First monster truck coverage, June 7th. So you got some dirt racing first, and then you got monster trucks after. And yet, by the looks of it, there really isn't much news except for just one. And of course, that is from Monster Jam. As I said earlier, May 19th, Monster Jam is going to have their World Finals stuff revealed, including lineups, the track, information about the show. It's all going to be revealed, so that's why we're going to do the episode of the podcast May 18th instead of May 19th. And then we're going to talk about the Monster Jam World Finals on June 30th. So, yeah, so after that, it's going to be quite some time before we talk about it. So, it shall be fun. Also, one last thing I just wanted to point out, and let's just go back to East Rutherford for a second. I'm shocked it did not downpour. Throughout the entire week, I saw rain, thunderstorms, big, large storms that could, put your show in jeopardy. And then all of a sudden, it's just dry. Wow. At this point, don't trust the the online weather apps. Just focus on what you see, or if you have a radar system, use that and use that only. Wow. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's take a look at what Arena Series East has in store, and then the other 2 stadium stops the following week. So, reason being of why I'm not going to be doing an episode of the podcast next week is because Arena Championship Series West is done, Central's done, we still got East, and the East Tour is technically the only points thing that's actually going to be happening this weekend. So they're going to be battling out at Ford Idaho Center. Jamie Garner, Zach Garner once again in, so I'm maybe the Maybe the Raminator and Ramunition team maybe dipped out. I'm not sure. But hopefully we'll get some more information when we do. Or maybe they have things going on with their family from their recent situation that happened. So 4 shows for the weekend, Friday, Saturday for 2, and Sunday. So for one of the shows, I'm thinking racing's going to go to Blake Ranger. Again, he's just been so consistent. If Zach Gardner doesn't get it, it's usually Blake Ranger. I'm thinking Zach Gardner's going to get skills, though. I mean, he's just been obviously very talented in the stadium, so him getting more practice in an arena, definitely benefiting him. Then freestyle, gonna have to actually go with Christian Anderson and Gravedigger. I don't think a lot of people give her credit with arena freestyles. She does really, really well in arenas, and I think she's going to pull off a really good freestyle run, especially if they allow her to do the backflip for the show. Overall event champion, Blake Ranger. Again, he's just been so dominant. I think he's going to clinch it by this weekend. And then we jump ship the following week with May 17th and May 18th. So we jump all the way up. So obviously Arena Championship Series East is going to have another show in Florida, but since we already covered them, we don't have to really talk about them. Let's talk about the 2 stadium stops. This is where the championships are for their series. So Stadium East is going to start things off as they are going to be heading over to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania for the very first time ever at Acrisure Stadium. I probably butchered that by a long shot. They got one show. Bari and Tyler are going for the championship. Racing, gonna go with Bari here. Although he came up short, he does have a lot of motivation. I think he'll pull that off. Skills, Tyler has a lot of motivation. He'll probably pull off something huge. But I'm going to predict that his truck is going to break. He'll have to fix it. Bari will put up a spectacular run. And then another truck breakage will have Tyler get some bad luck in freestyle, giving the overall to Bari, and Bari will win the championship. And again, you have drivers like Cannon Murphy, Colt Stevens, and Dalton Widener, and the list goes on and on and on. This tour is just full of talent. And even then, Armando Castro got his skills win last week. So with this, it could go either way. Again, with those other drivers, they could change up the game between Tyler and Bari. So even though that they're there and they're having some really cool moments through and through, Tyler and Bari are the 2 to look out for. So it's going to be a huge war. And then you have the former home of the World Finals, this being SoFi Stadium, Inglewood, California. They hosted World Finals 23, and now they get a regular stadium stop for the first time since 2023. We got technically 3 championship contenders: Bryce Kenny, who was 38 points behind Tristan England, and Ryan Anderson. So Tristan England, Ryan Anderson, Bryce Kenny, championship contenders. Everyone else could go and change it up for them, as they have one show in Englewood. And also, this is Todd LeDuc's last Monster Jam competitive event. So, if Todd LeDuc does not send it at this event, then good God, why didn't you do it? This is your last event. So I hope and pray that Todd LeDuc sends it. Even though that he's been pretty bad this year, now that we know that he's been setting up for retirement, I think this show he's gonna pull off a LeDuc leap or some sort. I hope if they restrict that, I hope they say, all right, Todd, this is your last show, go ham. And I hope he actually goes and does a LeDuc leap. Either a LeDuc leap or just sends it hard or pulls off something insane. Todd's got to do this. This is his last shot, his last freestyle run. So I hope he actually goes and does that. Racing, again, it's either Ryan or Tristan or Bryce. Again, those 3 just trade racing wins. I think going for racing, we're going to go Ryan Anderson. Skill's going to go to Tristan England. Freestyle, it's one of the 3. They always seem to get a lot of the wins on this tour. I think freestyle will go to Bryce Kenny, but then like it goes down to the wire, and I think Tristan's just gonna clinch the points championship by just a teeny bit. And that is my predictions for the next 2 weeks of Monster Jam for the remaining 3 active points championship series, which it seems like within the next 2 weeks they're going to be concluded by then. I want to thank everybody for joining here on the podcast. Surprisingly went up to 30 minutes. With the stuff I have, I am pretty shocked. We'll see you guys, not this coming week, but the following week. On a Sunday, May 18th, that'll be the next time we'll have the podcast, and we'll have some more information and more surprises along the way. We'll see you guys then here on TF Motorsports.